The story begins with Seiki Kenta, the notorious class bully. "Hey, trash," he mocks at Hidaka Masamune, instructing him to buy some juice. Seiki's psychic Kita also demands a drink. Despite the demeaning request, Hidaka smiles and suggests seltzer. As he receives coins for the purchase, he reflects on how he's become the designated errand boy at school, burdened with the personality of a slave due to an unfortunate curse. His world is eternally cast in shades of gray, a lifeless backdrop to his everyday life. Unexpectedly, a girl named Kawachi disrupts them, confronting the bullies and questioning their lack of shame. She scolds them for behaving like schoolyard bullies in high school. Despite her reprimand, Seiki feigns ignorance and insists there's nothing wrong with having Hidaki buy juice for them. He looks at Hidaki and asks, "After all, we're friends, aren't we?" It's obviously nonsense, but the girl inquires if it's true. While looking down, Hidaka confirms so and says that they're not doing anything wrong, but she isn't convinced and asks him if he's actually okay with this situation. The boy gives a blank stare, and a moment later, he brushes off her question and leaves the classroom to buy the drinks. He then contemplates about the 4 types of people who contribute to the bullying process. These are the bystanders, supporters, bullies, and victims. Masamune believes everyone has a role in bullying wherever it happens, and in reality, everyone likes to believe that they're not involved. He opens the door to the school rooftop, and there his thoughts lead him to the guardrails, where he tells himself he's broken. He corrects himself, stating that he isn't the one broken, it's the world that requires fixing. And just then, as he looks over the city skyline from the rooftop edge, he lets himself fall forward and bids goodbye to everyone. While descending rapidly, he clarifies that he doesn't necessarily want to die. He just doesn't want to live anymore. His subtle reasoning makes sense to him, but he's sure the others wouldn't know the difference. He keeps his eyes closed as he approaches the ground, and the next moment, a white emptiness greets him in his death. However, he suddenly opens his eyes and finds himself in another world. Perplexed, he discovers himself alive, greeted by a crowd, with a royal throne before his eyes. The old king announces, "Welcome, heroes, you have arrived at last." And Masamune immediately wonders why he called them heroes. The man continues speaking, introducing himself as King Johannes Greyberg, the patriarch of the country of Greyberg. Just then, Hidaki realizes that his classmates are also in the throne room, and unsurprisingly, even in this new world, Seiki locks eyes with him with a fierce glare. Hidaka averts his gaze and pays attention to King Greyberg, who details the prolonged war against magical entities in his kingdom. Desperate for a resolution, they resorted to hero summoning. The king emphasizes that the summoned heroes would possess formidable statuses and skills. However, before he can complete his explanation, an infuriated Seiki loudly interrupts the elderly man. Seiki demands clarification from him, asserting that their actions amount to kidnapping. At that moment, a mysterious flying object crashes in front of Seiki. King Greyberg, extending his hand, reveals the existence of magic in their world. Despite apologizing for the surprise, he explains that demonstrating magic is the quickest way to help Seiki comprehend the situation. The students, including Hidaka, are shocked at the sudden display of magic. However, Seiki is visibly angered. Another student, Achijo Yukimura, intervenes, advising him not to provoke the king and suggesting they listen to what the king has to say, as they are unaware of the circumstances. Some girls agree with Yukimura, prompting Seiki to reluctantly comply and calm down. King Greyberg reassures them that they have no intention of killing them, emphasizing the effort put into summoning the heroes. However, Seiki argues that they are just high school students. The king goes on to disclose that they have received extraordinary powers and occupations, highlighting that those with the hero occupation are especially gifted. Princess Aries Greyberg adds that if they utter the word status, they can witness the truth themselves. Seiki does as he's told, and upon the appearance of this status window, the princess exclaims in surprise. She immediately informs the king that the boy is a sage, the top class of the knights. There's even greater news, though. Princess announces that she has identified a hero in Yukimura. She is awestruck by his impressive status, while Hidaki, observing the surreal situation, finds it difficult to comprehend. He feels a sense of injustice that his happy classmates are now destined for even more extraordinary lives. However, he wonders if fortune has also smiled upon him. Curious and hopeful, he checks his own status window, only to discover that he has been assigned the role of a healer. Is this my so-called blessing? He questions in disbelief. Despite the initial shock, he decides not to lose hope. Seeking clarification about the healer class, he poses a question to the princess. At the mention of the term healer, her rejoicing expression transforms into one of seriousness. She explains that healers are a recovery occupation and reveals that they are the weakest. The information sends him into a state of crisis, and just then, Seiki approaches him and rubs salt on his burning wound by mocking him for being the weakest. Kawasha calls him out, but he doubles down and seriously suggests they probably don't need him here. Yukimura butts in and tells Seiki that he's being way too rude to Hidaki, but the bully retorts and asks if he has anything to say. Just then, the old man asks Hidaki about his status being the only one saying, "Reincarnated." The question grabs the attention of the other students and Princess Aries as the boy struggles to answer. Nervously, he reveals that he jumped from the school rooftop, which satisfies the old man's curiosity. Princess Aries then calls everyone's attention to continue her explanations, which takes Masamune aback due to the lackluster and dismissive reaction to what he had just revealed. The princess informs everyone they'd be enrolled in school to focus on training power to fight magical entities. They will first transport the students to their dormitories using a magic circle in the throne room. Seiki strides alongside the group toward the circle, casting a disdainful remark at Masamune as he passes by. At that moment, Hidaki reflects on his decision to end his life by jumping off the roof, only to find himself trapped in a seemingly unending cycle. Even in this new world, Seiki's cruelty persists, pushing Hidaki to his breaking point. He suddenly asks, much to the bully's surprise, "Is it really that much fun?" Baffled, Seiki seizes him, issuing threats, but Masamune dismisses the intimidation, expressing his repulsion. In a bold declaration, he announces his refusal to accompany the class any further. Princess Aries responds to his decision, acknowledging that she had already planned to transport him to a distinct location from the rest upon discovering his healer occupation. She adds that the destination will be random, maintaining a blank expression. She explains that it's part of a security system to ensure they can always receive assistance. Misinterpreting her, Hidaka expresses gratitude for the security, but Princess Aries clarifies with a cold demeanor. She asserts that the system is exclusively for the citizens of their kingdom, a potent magical tool crafted to save their lives. In a fit of anger, she expresses her frustration, grumbling about the summoning of a weak healer instead of a powerful being. She questions how they can explain this to the people relying on them for safety. Masamune, upon hearing this, turns ice cold. Seiki, seizing the opportunity, pats him on the back and whispers that he is truly trash. The tension escalates as the princess declares him guilty of wasting their effort and hope, branding it a crime. She then activates a magic circle. She coldly pronounces that he must now pay for his crimes with his life, pushing Masamune's anxiety to its breaking point. Frustrated by a lifetime of blame and mistreatment, he questions why he is always the target. He has always been blamed and picked on for various reasons, and he wonders why it's always him. Hidaka, consumed by rage and despair, unleashes a ferocious declaration, shouting at all of them, "I'll destroy you. This country, I'll turn it all to ash." He calls out everyone in the room, and with a burning heart for revenge, he swears to kill them all. But at the last moment, he disappears in a bright light as the magic circle teleports him away. Sometime later, he walks along a dark, narrow cave and wonders how long he has been traveling. He also has no clue where he is, so he pulls up his status window to get his directions. Upon viewing his stats, he recalls that he's the weakest hero as the healer, but at the corner of his eye, he notices an odd-level status that indicates the level of his otherworld syndrome. He flashes a cold smile upon seeing it, unaffected by the discovery of the unknown sickness. After some time navigating the dark maze, he stumbles upon a mysterious treasure box and contemplates whether it might be a mimic, a type of transforming monster. Concluding that this is unlikely, he opens the box only to find it empty. As he checks other boxes, a surprise awaits him, a small bottle in one of the treasure chests. Suspicious, he wonders if it could be poison. Suddenly, a voice resonates through the room, urging him to drink the contents of the bottle. Bewildered, Masamune turns around, asking if anyone else is present, yet he finds himself alone. The mysterious voice persists, urging him to consume the liquid for more power, emphasizing that he should drink every last drop. He contemplates whether he's imagining things but is enticed by the prospect of gaining strength, especially to fulfill his revenge. Fueled by the desire for a new life and the power potential, he decides to take the gamble and drinks the mysterious liquid from the bottle. Shock overtakes him as he consumes the fluid, and in the next moment, the bottle slips from his grasp, shattering into pieces on the ground. Meanwhile, in the students' dormitory, Seiki engages in a conversation about Princess Aries with Kita. Kawachi, however, warns him about a dangerous aura surrounding her, and Yukimura cautions him to be careful, emphasizing that once someone falls deep, there's no saving them, similar to Hidaka's situation. The girl mentions how they both went around bullying Hidaka, but Seiki dismisses it, believing there's no use pressuring them as he must be dead by now. While back in the cave, some time has passed, and Hidaka finds himself lying on the ground, initially unmoving. Upon awakening, he contemplates whether he fainted and assesses his physical condition. Despite earlier injuries, he doesn't feel any different. Curious, Masamune examines his surroundings, questioning if his vision has improved, but he can't discern any immediate changes. Determined to explore further, he rises to his feet and notices a chest nearby. Without expecting anything extraordinary, he decides to open it. Unfortunately, the box turns out to be a mimic in disguise, and before he can react, the monster attacks, drawing first blood. He screams in pain, clutching his bloody forearm. With no time to waste, as the mimic prepares for another attack, Masamune senses the danger and quickly runs away. After all, a person can surely outrun a box, right? Surprisingly, the monster doesn't pursue him and transforms back into a harmless-looking treasure chest. Having found a safe place for himself, he heals his wounds while lamenting about his unfortunate luck. He realizes that all he can do is heal himself, which he thinks definitely makes him the weakest class. He wonders if he's supposed to beat the monster with his lackluster skills. But just then, he notices a new unique skill in his status window named Mischievous Reversal, which he obtained from the bottle earlier, which was actually the god of revenge's secret medicine. He reads about the skill's effects but decides to focus on healing first. However, a notification suddenly pops up and informs him that his Mischievous Reversal skill has been activated, which has, in effect, reversed the magic technique Heal into the new technique Waves of Erosion. This new skill allows the user to take the life force of anything it touches. Upon learning this, he wonders if he could use it to beat the mimic in the treasure chest room. He decides to approach the chest cautiously, opting not to trigger the monster by opening it. Despite his mirrors, he is fueled by the desire for revenge against the creature that harmed his left hand. "I beg you, just die," Masamune mutters, activating Waves of Erosion. Magic energy shoots from his hands, making contact with the monster. Instantly, a portion of the mimic's body decays. Without warning, the box erupts into an explosion. The power of the Mischievous Reversal skill amazes him, and with the monster defeated, he celebrates his victory. At that moment, a notification surprises him again and informs him that the goddess Divine Protection has given him a chance to choose his rewards for winning. He ponders over 3 options, which are all interesting to him. After careful consideration, he opts for the precious chest skill, providing him with access to an infinite storage space, a convenient and practical choice. Following the destruction of the level 500 mimic, a notification reveals that he has gained enough experience to level up. The system floods him with multiple notifications and beeps to announce the level up. Not only have his overall levels increased, but even his techniques, such as the heal skill, have reached their maximum level. Additionally, a new skill named Healing Waves has been acquired and promptly enhanced to its maximum level, along with the acquisition of 2 more powerful skills. Observing his status window, Hidaka is puzzled by the rapid increase in his stats. He lacks knowledge about the standards of this new world, so he remains uncertain if his current level of strength is considered formidable. Concerns also linger about the power levels of his classmates, fearing that they might have surpassed him in strength. However, he sets aside his worries and focuses on moving forward in his solo journey. He heads deeper into the maze and eventually stumbles upon a massive, ominous door. He tries to push it open, but to no avail, and after a quick thought, he wisely decides to use waves of erosion on the door. The magical skill effortlessly creates a hole, revealing a room with a floating magic staff at its center. Masamune's excitement surges, akin to playing one of his fantasy games. Eager to claim his first loot, he hurries towards it. However, his elation is interrupted by a sudden shake in the room, prompting him to question the cause. Just as he wonders, something crashes through the ceiling and lands on the ground. The whole room begins to shake. Masamune notices a figure that is guarding the staff, showing no hesitation in its intent to kill him. The knight swings its massive sword, but Masamune manages to dodge just in time. Despite the upgrade in his physical resistance, he is not curious about the potential consequences of a direct hit and decides to enhance his defense using a skill, preparing for another attack from the Guardian. Surprisingly, the knight's sword gets stuck in the ground, providing Masamune with an opportunity to strike. Seizing the moment, he activates waves of erosion, tearing off the Guardian's right leg. Filled with overconfidence, he believes his opponent to be easier than expected. However, this optimism is short-lived, as the Guardian delivers a powerful counterattack that sends him crashing into a hard wall, causing him to vomit blood. Unfortunately, the enemy is still standing and remains determined to harm him. If not for his enhanced defense, Hidaka would have died on the spot earlier, so he heals himself and thinks about what to do. He decides to give it his best shot this time, so he once again activates waves of erosion. A bigger magic blast shoots out from him, and upon contact, the attack wipes out half of the Guardian's body. It's over, he confidently declares as the knight explodes into pieces. After a while, he receives a new skill called Mimic's Life. The system informs him that he just defeated a high-level mimic, and he wonders why his level is so high. But his magic skills are only level 5. He remembers the princess calling him the weakest, but he brushes off the thought and grabs the floating magic staff nearby. The system informs him that he has acquired a magic tool called the Wrath of Saints, which contains intermediate holy magic of the holy light element. Hidaka is unsure of whatever that means, but he's certain it will be useful someday. At the Ares Academy maneuvering area number 1, Yukimura apologizes to the teacher, Philip Battlers, as his magical circle explodes. Philip advises him to learn to control magic without relying on a circle, emphasizing the importance of mastering skills to defeat demons. Seiki and Kita only observe the training as the teacher has told them that their magical power is not enough, while Yukimura is still training despite having no strength left. They ponder that their titles as heroes are merely decorations, highlighting the distinction between having the title and truly embodying the essence of a hero. While Hidaka is still exploring the maze, but now he also finds himself drinking booze for the first time. He has also stumbled upon a food pantry, alleviating his concerns about food supplies. However, a mysterious door captures his attention, and after a moment of impulsive decision-making, he ventures into the room. Suddenly, a man seated on a throne speaks, acknowledging an adventurer's arrival. Surprisingly, Hidaka discovers himself in the boss room, greeted by a mysterious man who extends a warm welcome. Masamune, puzzled by the distinctiveness of the place compared to others he's explored, overhears the man asking his pet monster about the last time he encountered an adventurer. Learning that it's been 150 years, though I found it somewhat incredulous. Standing tall, Sean rises and proudly proclaims himself as the King of Snakes. As he unsheathes his sword, he declares the commencement of their imminent battle, brimming with excitement. Before Masamune can muster a response, King Sean swiftly thrusts his sword into the boy's belly. A torrent of pain courses through his body, and amid his agony, Sean wears a maniacal smile, reveling in the thrill of a deadly battle. Yet, as Masamune gasps for breath, his hands clutching his wounded stomach, King Sean expresses disappointment in the declining quality of adventurers. Strangely, he hears Hidaka utter a healing spell and wonders if he might be a priest. Sean's pet Zuri clarifies that he's a healer, and at this point, he wonders how a healer could have been able to come to this place alone. The flying pet then adds that the boy's skills are a bit weird, but before the king can learn anything about it, Hidaka comes in clutch with his holy light attack, which kills Zuri. A bright explosion fills the room, and right after, the system asks Masamune to choose a reward, but just then, an angry king prepares a powerful attack. Thinking swiftly, Masamune casts waves of erosion at the king, catching him off guard with the potent magic. As the magical energy courses through the air, he anxiously wonders if his attack had any effect. To his astonishment, King Sean reappears, demanding an explanation for the peculiar magic. However, he soon notices that his sword has been partially destroyed by the attack. Hidaka, seizing the opportunity, confronts him about his unexpected reaction. His momentary relief shatters as the king swiftly launches another attack, inflicting a significant wound on his body. He falls helpless on the ground and endures the taunts and warnings from King Sean, who asserts that escape from the room is an impossible feat. While lying injured, he attempts to heal himself, recognizing the immense speed of the old man, making it challenging for him to see the unfolding events. King Sean, frustrated by Masamune's evasive responses, interrogates him about the magic that obliterated his monster, suspecting it might have come from the boy's magic staff. However, the absence of supporting items on the staff raises doubts in the king's mind. Losing patience, he swings his sword once more, inflicting excruciating pain on Hidaka, who maintains his claim of being just a healer. The old man declares, "In that case, I will slash you until you say the truth." But Hidaka, not wanting to back down, insists that he has already told him everything. In his angry rampage, King strikes the defenseless boy multiple times, leaving him no chance to heal himself completely. The old man then insists again that he must be hiding something else since it's impossible for a healer to use offensive magic. He sticks to this script and maintains his claim of being a healer without divulging his name. Frustrated by Hidaka's lack of cooperation, King Sean calls him out for not revealing his name while continuously repeating his occupation. In response, the boy introduces himself as Nito, drawing inspiration from a previous encounter with Seiki, who likened the title to the healer occupation. He adopts the name with the determination to make it famous and seek revenge on everyone. However, King Sean hears Nit instead of Neat, and despite Masamune's attempts to correct him, it proves futile. Frustrated, the king declares his boredom with the situation. The statement confuses Masamune, and without any notice, multiple slashes suddenly appear on his body, causing blood to spurt out all at once. He falls to his knees, and King Sean declares that it's over for him. He wonders if he's really going to die like this. However, at that moment, Seiki's face appears in his mind, sparking a second wave of determination fueled by anger and a desire for revenge. He thinks, "I still haven't done anything yet." At the last second, just before the king's sword could strike him down, Masamune activates waves of erosion. The magic, being essentially unavoidable at point-blank range, leaves King Sean defeated on the ground, surprised by the boy's ability to still wield magic despite his poor condition. The king admits that he has become weaker after 150 years, since his last fight with an adventurer. He then unexpectedly gives advice and tells Hidaka to hide his identity from now on. He reveals that he used to be widely known across the kingdom in the old days, since he was the mighty king of snakes. He then points out Masamune's unusually powerful and strange magic despite his healer occupation and warns him that he will become the target of everyone if people learn about it. According to the old man, the best choice for him is to hide his identity and pretend to be weak, especially since their world rejects idiots. The advice surprises Masamune, and after a moment he asks the king if he has ever heard about a certain god of revenge. In a moment of clarity, an old memory of a former friend flashes through the king's eyes, and with a smile, he suddenly remarks that he now understands. He then laughs and explains that it's been a long time since he heard that name. Masamune excitedly asks if he knows anything, but the king only reveals that it was the code name of an adventurer who had a curse and advises him to travel to other lands to one day find its meaning. The dying king finds the situation interesting, and as his final words, he requests the boy to reveal his identity. Masamune tells the old man his full name, and the next moment he passes away. A notification immediately pops up and prompts him to choose a reward for defeating the King of Snakes. As if on cue, the king's sword suddenly appears above the old man. Masamune grabs the so-called serpent sword and wonders if a healer like him could use it, but he sets aside his apprehensions and fully accepts the reward from King Sean. A skill window that informs him that he has received a new skill from killing the king's pet monster, and on top of that, he has also acquired the old man's unique speed skill called Flash. With a new set of skills and a strong brand new weapon at hand, he begins climbing the stairs, hoping the passage will lead him outside. He reminds himself to keep pushing forward no matter how long it takes to achieve his goal, to kill all those who mocked him and brought him down.